Hi everyone, happy Monday. Thank you for joining us today for another webinar in April. My name is Sonia Siddiqui and joining me today is Neelam, who's come into our office.
Hi everyone.
And there's Ria, who's joining us from Markham.
Hi everyone.
I'm just going to hand it over to Ria now. Ria goes first. Tell us a little bit about yourself and then we'll hand it over to Neelam.
Hi guys. So hello everyone. Good morning. It is 11:09. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I know you guys are from different parts of the world joining in. So again, my name is Ria Ragbir, and as you can see, I was born in Trinidad and I migrated to Florida with my parents in 1996. So I came over as a teen. So, I did have my struggles as a teenager in a new country, in a foreign land. So I completely understand the struggles that newcomers face. And, I saw it in my parents as well, them searching for jobs. My parents had tenured jobs back in Trinidad and they left because they wanted a better life for us. So they wanted us to have the educational opportunities in the States. And my dad gave up his work. My mom did as well. And, we just started over from scratch. So, I saw their struggles. We were all in it together. We're a family of 4. And then I graduated from the University of South Florida and I started working in banking. I've always, actually in university, I was a teller and I've always been in banking. I've always loved banking. So it's only natural that I come over and stay in banking. So I migrated to Canada in 2008 and I had my challenges there as well as an adult. And unfortunately, I faced it by myself and I got through it, but I was fortunate to have RBC by my side. So I've been with RBC for 10 years and I've been in Canada for about 10 years. And when I started with RBC, I started as a manager of client care, and that's at a location in Markham. I've worked through various locations in Markham actually, and it's just working with the clients and the staff, and making sure the branch operates effectively, and just taking care of our clients and our staff at the branch. And then I decided for a career change. I wanted to have the sales aspect of the banking world. So I obtained my mutual fund license actually in 2018. And I began my role as a banking advisor. So that is my current role. I am a banking advisor here at the RBC meeting place as well. I'm a mother of 2. I have 2 boys, Cameron and Jaden, and I love cooking and watching Netflix. So that's Ria. That's your presenter today, guys. I'll hand it over to Neelam. She'll tell you a little bit about herself.
Thank you, Ria. And Neelam, will hand it over to you.
Sure. So, hi everyone. Let me tell you briefly about my story. What Ria was talking about, her parents of being unsettled and then moving here, giving everything up. Well, that's pretty much my story. I'm originally from India, but I lived and worked in Hong Kong for 15 years. And my background is business development and supply chain and corporate lead for a garment manufacturing company. When I moved to Canada, the reason why I moved was because I had a 12-year-old son and I wanted a better education for him. That was my reason for move. So when I moved here, I actually faced a lot of challenges because what I didn't realize was the industry that I was in, which is manufacturing, supply chain, and Asian operations, was not that easily transferable in Canada. And whatever job offers that I got in my industry, they would ask me to go back to China. So I didn't move here to go back. I wanted to make Canada my home for my son's education. So I now decided that I had to change things up, and I started reevaluating my soft skills, my transferable skills. I got a lot of help from organizations, which is Brampton Multicultural Center. They helped me understand what soft skills are, and I ultimately leveraged my soft skills to apply at an entry-level position in RBC Royal Bank. RBC was the first organization that gave me a chance at a job without Canadian experience. They recognized my soft skills, and when all doors were closing on me, RBC opened its doors to me. So this was in April 2014 when I got my employment as a part-time customer service person with RBC. I'll be completing 5 years with RBC on April 14 of this year, and I am now an assistant branch manager at a Newcomer meeting place. So it's such a wonderful story for me of being a newcomer and succeeding with an organization that recognizes the talent and skills that newcomers and educated professionals bring to this nation and give us a chance. So I always say this, I said, I bleed blue. And the reason why I say that is because my organization not only supported me, but here I am today sharing my story so I can inspire a lot of newcomers like yourselves.
Wow, thank you. That was great. Thank you. It's very inspirational stories coming from both of you. And I hope that our viewers can relate to these in the future as well. So we'll move forward into the actual presentation now. And we'll turn our cameras off so that we don't have a lag. Here. All right, there you go. So, Via, we'll hand it over to you. Go ahead.
Okay. Again, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. You know, I know many of you are already in Canada, so or just landed in Canada. So welcome to Canada, and many of you are making your transition, and I know you are going to love it here in Canada. So welcome, Neelam. So the next slide is where we have our question wall. There are question wall in our location. It is part of our branch, and it is part of the meeting place. Essentially, the meeting place is a place where we come together, and we're here for our newcomers. We are here to answer any of your questions that you have. And if you take a look at some of the questions, for example, how do I settle myself in Canada? How is banking different in Canada? How do I budget for life in Canada? Is sending money back home easy? How can I build my credit history? How do I enroll my kids for childcare or school? How do I explore my community? How do I find employment? Or should I start my own business? So these are questions that newcomers have asked us, and we just compile them into this wall, and it's part of our branch. And you know, essentially, we want you to bring your questions to us, and we will get an answer to you. And that's what we do here at the RBC meeting place, is help you with your financial questions. However, we do go beyond the financial as well and answer any questions that you have that will help your settlement journey easier into Canada. And for I do have some more questions on the next slide, and it's just a couple pictures as well of, you know, us relating to the newcomers. And this is the first couple pictures. We have, you know, a few newcomers that we were sitting down with and chatting with, and, you know, just helping them, answering their questions. Some of them had questions. I think this picture was taken for our family day. So many of them was asking us, what is family day about? What types of food they can get in this area? Where do I go to shop? Where is the nearest post office? The difference between YRT and TTC. So these are all questions that, you know, someone new to the country will not know. However, we're here, and RBC is here as an organization to help you answer those questions. So you would be able to visit any location and essentially ask these questions. And at the Brampton location, at the Markham location, we do have, you know, our colleagues here that will be able to assist in all these questions that you may have. So we're essentially here to make your settlement into Canada as easy as possible. And so we're here today to essentially, Neelam and I, we're here to present to you some facts that you need to know about banking in Canada. And here is a fun fact for you, actually. 1 out of every 5 Canadian is born outside of Canada. So that's 20%. And to be quite honest, I don't think in my 10 years here, I don't think I've met someone that was actually born in Canada. Or maybe I have, I can't remember. So it might have been just like 1 or 2 persons that I've met. But essentially, we're all newcomers. And we're newcomers helping newcomers because we all, remembered our journey. It might have been 10 years ago, 5 years ago, a month ago, but we remember that journey and we want to help and give back. And that is what RBC wants to do. And we are doing that, on a consistent basis. And we're just here for you every step of the way. We want you to do well in Canada and call it your new home. So before I came to Canada, I never shoveled snow. I never put on skates. I've never seen so many cultures in one place. And that's one of the things that whenever I talk to my friends and family about Canada, because they're always like, oh, why did you move there? It's so cold. Why did you move? and I was like, but this country is just so amazing. It's just, you meet so many different people from all around the world and all these different foods, and everybody is so open to try each other's food. And I feel like whenever I see that, I just have so much love in my heart, and I just love it here in Canada. And I hope you guys feel the same way and enjoy it. And there's so many things again to see around in Canada. And Sonia, on my next slide, you'll see there's a lot of things that will be new and unexpected when you arrive in Canada, and banking may be one of them. But however, hopefully RBC will be able to alleviate any, to alleviate that stress that you may have and help you understand banking in Canada. And hopefully that's what Neelam and I are here to do and help you as well. Like I said before, it's a very multicultural country. And there really is a Tim Hortons in every corner. And actually, it doesn't snow all year round. We have a beautiful summer. And a lot of people, we stay in Canada because our summer it's quite short, but we tend to want to stay and enjoy it as much as we can. And Niagara Falls is even bigger than I thought. So I hope many of you, when you do come over, you'll be able to visit Niagara Falls, and it's such a beautiful place. And if you haven't, choose an RBC, when you do choose RBC as your bank, we want to make sure that whatever your life in Canada holds for you, we are here for you and we'll continue to be a supportive partner. And there are quite a few stereotypes, and I'm sure many of you have seen it online or you've heard it from friends or family. They say that we drink double every day. And, they say that we only play ice hockey and we put maple syrup on everything. And we say A at the end of every sentence. We invented poutine and we live in igloos. And I actually can attest to that because one of my friends in Florida, they're like, do you guys live in igloos there? I was like, no, we don't. Why would you think that? It's and I can also attest to, we don't drink doubles every day because I took actually a year to learn what a double is. And I would see it on my colleagues' cups and it would say DD, and I never knew what that meant. And then I went home and I asked my husband, I'm like, what does DD mean on the top of your coffee cup? And I understood it, and it means double. So I can actually say that stereotype is not true. I don't drink double, but some of you may like it. So essentially a double is 2 creams and 2 sugars in your coffee. So it's very sweet. And the maple syrup, we don't put maple syrup on everything. It's good on your pancakes, but we don't put it on everything. So you may be surprised by some of these things, and some of these things that you'll hear from your friends and family, when they ask you, why are you moving to Canada? You can just tell them it's such a beautiful country and it's so multicultural, and you can tell them about the stereotypes that you're aware of. So what do Canadians have in common? Though we're very diverse, there are a few things that binds us. We all value family. We value wanting to have a home that we can be proud of, living a fulfilling life that has a purpose and value, and planning for the future, whether there's few years down the road or decades away. So whether you're new to Canada or born here, Canadians for the most part live by these kind of values and build their homes around them, and you will too. So I just want to reiterate, we are here for you during every step of your journey. And, from establishing a certain lifestyle to planning and creating a future that you want, we want to help you to work towards that future that you moved here to enjoy. At RBC, we focus on what's important to you. We're committed to helping you create the best life you can for yourself and your family. Essentially, your focus is our focus. And at this point, I will hand it over to my colleague, Neelam. She will discuss the banking systems in Canada.
So, hi everyone. Ria, that was really very nice introduction of what a Canadian culture looks like and what the world has a concept of as Canadians. I know most of you who are intrigued about what a double-double means, you know now what a double-double means. And if that is being deciphered in your cultural and social scene, let me help you here to decode some of the Canadian banking basics. We also use a lot of acronyms here, and in my session today, I hope to make it very, very simple for you. So let's get started. So we have the very first one, which is a very basic kind of bank accounts that we have in Canada. We have the first one, which is called as the checking account. And if you might notice, the word checking is spelled differently in Canada. It is CHEQUING, which is pretty much the same what you might be using in your country, spelled as CHECKING, checking account. It's also in some countries known as a current account. But to break it down for you, the checking account is your main account where you deposit your funds that you're going to use. Your payroll deposit comes into the account, as well as any withdrawals or pre-authorized payments that you may have set up goes out of your checking account. We also have the next type of account, which is called as a savings account. Savings accounts are accounts where you can, as the name suggests, save money and you will get some interest on it. We also have a US dollar saving account, which is a US account underneath your Canadian profile where you can save money in US dollars. There are various types of savings accounts, and as we go through this slide, I will be talking to you more about the various types of savings. The basic savings account usually have a high interest e-saving. An e-saving account just means that you can access your savings online. So that's pretty much about the types of accounts. When you have the checking and savings accounts, as newcomers, you will be opening a basic checking and a savings account. How are you going to access the funds in your account? Well, there are various ways of doing so. If you're banking with RBC, we have branches all over Canada and ATMs available, which is automatic teller machines. So you have access to your money by walking into a nearby branch or accessing through an ATM. With RBC, you're also digitally enabled, so you have access to your funds online as well as through your mobile banking apps. So these are the various ways you'll be able to carry out transactions through your checking accounts as well as access your savings. The most important part of coming to Canada is understanding what is credit. So when you come to Canada, the first few needs that you will have is purchase a phone or get a rental property, or your one big purchase would be a car. At any point, you will be required to present a credit history. The first time when you walk into any bank and apply for a credit card, you will also be asked for a credit history. So What is a credit history? So credit history basically is a report that is maintained by a third-party credit bureau that keeps a record of your liabilities and how are you handling them. So what do we mean by liabilities? It could be your credit card, it could be bill payments, it could be your home or any other utilities that you have taken a loan on. So considering that you are brand new to Canada, how are you going to build your credit history? Well, this is where RBC comes in. We have a Newcomer Advantage package wherein you will get your very first credit card without established credit history. The credit card will not only help you make it easy to plan your expenses, you can use it for your everyday expenses, but at the same time, it will help you build your credit history. Credit cards are also easy and safe to use. And once your credit card is up and running, you can start establishing your credit history. One ask of how you would be building a good credit history, well, it's very simple. Make sure that your bill payments are done on time and that you're not late or missed any payments. So that is the basic of how a credit history is built. Apart from your credit card, there are other kinds of facilities that are available in Canada that can help you maintain your lifestyle. These are various types of loans, lines of credit, and auto financing. I would like to start with auto financing first. When you come to Canada, the first thing that you realize is how big we are. We are a very huge country and we are spread all over in different locations and cities. So you might just know of Toronto, but Toronto has a GTA area, which is called as a Greater Toronto Area. So if you were to land in Toronto and if you were to travel to Brampton, the modes of transit may not be feasible for you. So the first expense, big expense that you may have to make your life easy is to purchase a car. And how do you purchase a car? Well, there are two ways of doing it. You go for what is called as auto financing or an auto loan. An auto loan simply means that you go to an auto dealer and you have a pre-purchased, determined purchase price, which you will pay off in installments till the whole amount is paid off. There is another option which is called as a lease. A lease is more like renting the car and there's a predetermined installment which you pay. End of the lease, you have a choice to either purchase the car from the dealer at a lower price or return it back and get a new car on lease. Auto financing for newcomers, again, credit history is required. However, with RBC financing, we make an exception for it. So that's something that you may want to consider. Apart from auto financing, we have personal loans. Personal loans are a fixed amount of money that is lent to you. This is in case of your emergency purchase where you might need a lump sum all at once and the bank lends it to you and you can pay it back over a period of time. The last product is called as a line of credit. So line of credit is kind of loan that has more flexibility on how you manage it. You are allowed to borrow from the line of credit either partially or completely up to the credit limit. So these are the products which you will get to know more about as and when your need arises. So I'm not going to go much in detail about it. Yes, they all have an interest rate on it, which again in some ways is linked to what kind of credit score you have and how you built your credit. So going back to my point, it's important to build a good credit history when you are in Canada. Mortgages are more like loans that are taken for a home purchase. It's a long-term loan and the bank will use the home as a collateral or a security. So I'm not sure if this term is used elsewhere, but mortgage is one of the most significant loans that most of the newcomers want to get into, and we are here to help you get your first dream home. As we move on to the slide, we'll be talking more about what facilities we have for newcomers and how a newcomer can get into their first home. The last product that I'd like to talk about is called as insurance. So insurance is quite global and it may not be very different from where you come from. We do have a lot of mandatory insurances that you will have to purchase. The first one being an auto insurance. So auto insurance, as the name suggests, protects you and your car in event of an accident. The other type is home insurance. Home insurance will protect you and your property in case of fire, theft, or vandalism. There is also a travel insurance. Travel insurance will protect you from medical care while traveling. So while we are on the subject of travel insurance, I also would like to add that if you're new to Canada, your insurance does not kick in until 90 days of residence in the province. So we have what is called as OHIP, which is Ontario Health Insurance Plan. The OHIP requires that you are residing in the country for 90 days and it requires residential proof. So I would always recommend to newcomers who are landing that please make sure you have some kind of insurance to cover you for the first 90 days, especially those traveling with children, because there can be unforeseen circumstances and children may get sick even as simple as change of weather. So please do keep in mind. The last type, of course, is life insurance, which everybody is aware of. Life insurance helps protect your family in eventuality of death. So these are the various products which I would recommend when you're new and you start to set up your life. Definitely ask us and we are happy to guide you in the right way. So the last point we are talking about here as part of our Canadian banking and understanding basics of banking is various types of savings accounts. So we have all these acronyms that are displayed here. There's a TFSA, a GIC, an RESP, an RRSP. These are a bit more complicated than a double acronym because there are a lot of things associated with what these various acronyms entail. So let's start off with the first one. The first one is called as a TFSA, or a tax-free saving account. As the name suggests, any money that goes underneath the tax-free saving account is not taxable. But basically here we are talking about growth. So just to give you a bit overview of how Canadian taxation system works, you are taxed on your income as well as you will be taxed on any growth that you may have on your investments, which could be your interest, dividends, or capital gains. There are various different ways in which the taxation occurs. If you put any money under the TFSA is like a tax shelter. So any growth that you may get under the tax-free saving account is not taxable. So this kind of account, I think, benefits a lot of newcomers, especially if you know you're not going to use the funds for the next few years. It's a good place to park your money in and gain some interest or growth on it. The other account that the other acronym that stands there is that one is called the GIC, or Guaranteed Investment Certificate. To give you a direct relation of what a GIC is, in other countries it's also known as a term deposit, or it is known as a fixed deposit. This is a plan wherein you can block the money, a certain amount of funds, for a fixed interest rate, and at the end of the term you get the interest in addition to your funds, which are risk-free. The principal is protected. The next one is the RESP. So RESP stands for Registered Education Savings Plan. Now, I always like to talk about RESP because most of us have moved to Canada, including myself, for our children's education. And we are all aware that education is free for children so long as they are in school. However, a lot of us do not know this, is that university education can be very expensive. And I'll give you an example of myself. My son went into university last year and his 1 year's fees was around 30,000 Canadian dollars. And he's just doing an undergrad program at McMaster, which is one of the top universities. So how did I pay for his education? Well, we did have some Ontario Students Assistance Plan, but the first year itself, while he was applying for it, there were expenses, miscellaneous expenses, like he needed a new laptop, he needed to buy clothes, of course, teenagers need to look good. And then he also had dorm and living on campus, so food and other expenses. So I had opened what is called as an RESP for him. Now, how does education saving plan work? The education saving plan allows you to put in a certain amount of contribution saved for your child's education, and whatever you contribute, the government tops it up with 20% from their side. In a lifetime, it's up to 7,200 contribution from the government. If you want to know more about this, definitely ask us. We always encourage parents that as soon as they start to settle down by way of job and income, it's a good idea to open an RESP account. We are aware of the taxes that we pay in Canada, but we also need to put the spotlight on the various ways in which these taxes are put to good use. One of them is helping you save for your child's education. So RESP is definitely a product that I would recommend. The last one is called an RRSP. An RRSP is a retired registered saving plan. This plan, as the name suggests, is more for your retirement. There are other complexities associated with it, but this is something when you can start off after you come to Canada and after you start working. So moving on, we have various ways in which you can bank and access your funds. RBC is Canada's #1 bank, and it also has won a lot of awards for best customer service. One of the things we are also proud of is our award-winning digital app that is loved by the clients. We have the largest network of branches for the country, in the country, and more ATMs than any other branch. We have advisors and specialists who help you with your goals and needs on your schedule and in your preferred language and in a location that is most convenient to you. You can also avail of 24/7 services through our online banking, mobile app, or our 24-hour advice call center. So you have access to us in whatever mode suits you the most, and we are here to help you. So one of the things that RBC prides itself on is we like to be on our client's path. We understand that clients are very busy, and you will find that so, especially as a newcomer, when you'll be out either networking, going for interviews, or having to do a lot of other things. Transit might take up a lot of your time when you're new to the country. So how do you work in your banking? Well, we have various ways in which we can help you on a day-to-day basis, or whether you are thinking of getting your home or having a particular kind of lifestyle that suits your values and goals, or looking after your family, or even planning your future. So we have all the digital banking solutions that makes it easy for us to help you. The first one is for the every day-to-day transactions that you may have. Basic money and everyday needs are taken care of through the mobile and digital banking. For example, e-transfers. Now, e-transfer is a tool that helps you to transfer the money to any account in Canada, and it is free for RBC clients. You can also do check deposits through your mobile app. The other thing that we help you to do is your bill payments. So if you have to pay all your bills, there are various ways of doing it, but the best, easiest way is to go online to your online banking. Just as Alberto is saying here, he pays all his multiple bills within 3 minutes. Most important is when teenagers have their apps and they are going to spend, they are able to check what is the balance on their phone before they do any purchase. This helps you keep on top of what are your balances, what are the transactions, all through your mobile app. Okay. Now, the most important purchase for Canadians is your first home. When you're ready to buy a home, RBC will be here to help you every step of the way. We have a lot of online apps as well to help you do that. There is an online mortgage calculator tool. This will help you determine your monthly mortgage payment for the home you intend to buy. The calculators are actually offered in 3 languages: English, French, and simplified Chinese. We also have other tools. There's one tool which is called as a pre-approval for a mortgage. The pre-approval for a mortgage allows the home buyer to lock down an interest rate for 120 days. This is a conditional offer on verification. However, it will give you a chance to shop around while holding on to your rate. As a newcomer, you have an option of purchasing a home without established credit history, and it is subject to certain conditions. So when you come to Canada and if you want to purchase a home right away, definitely ask us that question and we will offer you the resources for the same. So what do we mean by lifestyle? So lifestyle is what are the things that you would want to have in your life to make you comfortable and make you happy and content. RBC has various ways of helping you with that. The first thing is, of course, purchasing a car. You want to purchase a car, but you are new to Canada. You do not know what are the best ways of purchasing a car, from which dealership, where do you get a loan, or is loaning a better idea than leasing? We have online calculators for that as well. You can use our online calculators for calculating car loan payments and compare the cost of buying versus leasing. If you need funds for home rentals or home repairs or any emergency or a trip that you need to make, you can have access to our credit specialists. The credit specialists, you can call them on our call center, and we actually support a language line which supports 200 languages. So you can have these conversations about borrowing or any other requirements that you have in the language of your comfort. We are here to help you in your language. So few things that I encountered when I moved to Canada was that suddenly I was uprooted from where I was. I was away from my family. My family actually lives in India, and then I have some family still in Hong Kong. And then my son was here, and now I had to figure out how I was planning and structuring my finances and my transactions to support all these various responsibilities. RBC offers an online international remittance, which you'll be very happy to know. For newcomers, actually, we have 12 transactions free in the 6 months. So that's 2 in a month, where you can send money back home. We are again supporting around 200 countries where you can send the money out to. And the money that you spend, it's absolutely free. So you're just able to send the money, and the wire transfer fees actually are reimbursed back to you. So international remittance becomes very, very convenient. Again, from the comfort of your home, you can do it at any time you want. Opening an RESP, just we discussed the benefits of having an RESP account for your child. You can set it up through your online banking as well. It's very easy, and the minimum contribution you can start off with is $25. So any needs that you may have for making transfers, or let's say, for example, paying a babysitter because you availed a babysitter facilities, you can use an e-transfer. You can also pay rentals through e-transfers, as well as manage most of your banking to maintain your family's well-being through all these various online apps. As you start to settle in Canada with having your first job, your car purchase and home purchase and other lifestyle changes, you will now find a need to have a specialist to help you plan for your future goals. A financial planner at RBC can help you to balance your goals of today with a vision for tomorrow, helping you to create a security for yourself and your family and grow your savings. If you are an investment savvy person, we also have an alternate investment tool, which is called as direct investing. This helps you to manage your own funds and investments by yourself. So I just want to summarize what we studied. We went through the slides today, how the Canadian banking system works, and then we talked about how RBC is here to help you. And just want to reiterate the point that we are here to support you in your language, so 200 languages and on our language line to have access to. We also have so many digital solutions to make it easy for you through your busy life, so you do not feel that it's harder to or inconvenient for you to access or do your banking. And you can also have access to our specialists and experts 24/7 based on your schedule. We have the 200 languages that we can access, so this is something that's going to help you have easy access to all the banking and your finances. So one of the values of RBC that we like to talk about is helping our clients thrive and communities prosper. So we are committed to help all Canadians achieve their someday. So what do you mean by someday? Usually we always have these dreams where we say, so someday I'm going to build a home, or someday I'm going to retire on a cottage on a lake. So that is actually a Canadian dream. Every Canadian dreams of having a cottage on the lake. And when you come here, I would encourage you to check out the Muskoka County, which is one of the most beautiful counties to visit. And you see it's called cottage country. What we do here is, while we have all the stereotypes where in your mind that these are all stereotypical images of Canadians, we are all not coffee drinking or ice hockey playing Canadians, but there are some things that bind us. And what binds us is we all are patriotic, we all are proud Canadians, and we all have family values, and we all have goals that we would like to achieve. So RBC loves to be a part of our clients' life. We are here to provide a safe place for you so you can deposit your money. We have lots of policies and procedures to make sure that you're protected from fraud. We are here for you. So as we sum up all this Canadian banking, I would like to put a spotlight on our RBC Newcomer Advantage package. When you first arrive in Canada, these are the ways we are going to be able to help you at RBC. We offer the best premium checking account, free for 1 year. We also offer you a credit card for $2,000. There's no credit history required. And you get a safety deposit box free for 1 year to help you to store your valuables safely. And if you were to visit us at any of our meeting places, either in Markham or right here in Brampton, any one of us, you also get all your questions answered. We are here to make you feel comfortable. If you're here and you don't know where else to go, digitally, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, connect with Ria on LinkedIn as well. If there are some questions that you want to get answered before you land, then digitally we are available on LinkedIn as well. So thank you so much for your time today, everyone. You logged in from different parts of the world, and I'm sure some places it's probably late night. So thank you so much for listening to me patiently. It brings us to the end of our information session, and Ria and I would love to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you, ladies. So we already have a ton of questions here. We'll quickly start getting through them. So Nilesh has a question, wants to know what is the most economical way to transfer funds from India to Canada?
So Nilesh, thank you for that question. I would recommend the best way to bring money in is to wire the money into an account. RBC is able to help you. If you just send me an email, I might be able to help you open your account before you land. If that is not feasible for you, the other option is a lot of people from India are using what's called as a Forex card. So I would recommend, if you're taking a Forex card, please do take it from a bank, because some smaller companies like Thomas Cook, for example, or Western Union, I have seen a lot of people face technical difficulties in getting money from those cards. The other thing I would advise is, if you're taking a Forex card, please make sure you ask your bank what is the best way to do a full money withdrawal. Because, for example, I know Access Bank has a restriction on withdrawal, and they usually require a permission, a request put in after you land in Canada. You have to send out a request and say, we need to withdraw full funds, and that's when you're able to do it. So please do ask questions when you take on a Forex card.
Thank you. So the next question here, very good question from Ravi here. What are the mortgage options available for newcomers to purchase a home? Because as newcomers, they will not have a credit history in Canada. How are they going to be eligible for mortgage when they've initially arrived?
So Ravi, thank you. That's a very, very good question. Purchasing a home is always first on the minds of most of our newcomers. I would recommend for you to first come into Canada and take a look at where is it that you want to set up home. We have various locations and areas, schools, or look job-wise, which is the best location that is suitable for you. Once you start to settle down, I would encourage you to look at the price point of what is it that you want to purchase. Typically, we set you up with an appointment with a mortgage specialist, and the mortgage specialist is able to help you. As a newcomer, so long as you have your down payment ready, you do not require a credit history. There are certain conditions, considering that you don't have a credit history, which you may have to fulfill. However, that's something that you might want to start a conversation of right away when you open an account with Rbc, that I'm looking for a home and how can you help us? And we will guide you even by way of how to look for a home and what realtors you can refer to and how can a mortgage specialist help. So once you land, we'll be able to help you with all these questions.
Thank you. And Kwang here has a question. How can he get a secured credit card in his first year in Canada? Is it advisable? Does Rbc offer such a card?
Kwang, if you are landing on a permanent residency and you have your landing papers, you will get a credit card which does not require any collateral or security. You will get a $2,000 credit card right away without having an established credit history. So a secured credit card just means that you have to block your money. So it could be maybe $1,000 or $2,000 that mandatorily you would have to block in your account before you get a secured credit card. So in this case, if you are a permanent resident, you really don't need a secured card. Rbc will help you with getting one right away.
Awesome, thank you. And Marcus has a few questions here. Wants to know, what are the requirements or documents needed to open an account?
Okay, Marcus, answering your first question, we will require proof of ID. So when you come into our branch to open your account, we will be requiring a valid passport as well as your country's passport. That's what we recognize as a photo ID, as well as your landing paper. So that 2 pieces of ID is more than enough for us to help you get started to open an account. How do you fund?
So they want to know, how do you fund the US dollar accounts? Do you make an automatic currency exchange, like from their Canadian banking checking account to the US account?
Yes, so when you open a US dollar account, you can deposit your US dollar. If you're carrying US dollar funds and you do not want to convert them into Canadian right away, then the US dollar account, you can use the US dollar account to deposit the money directly into it. The conversion does take place in real time, whether you're doing it on your online banking or whether you go into a branch. The system calculates for you what is the rate of the day, and then you're able to convert it.
Thank you. So Nilfer has a question about RSP. Could you just kind of go over it again quickly?
So, Nilofer, the reason why I did not share much details about RRSP is because RRSP is something that you set up usually 1 year after you got employed. Mm-hmm. And typically it's around 18% of your income that can be put into an RRSP or a retired registered saving plan. There are various other features to it. One of them being that if you're a first-time home buyer, you can definitely withdraw from an RRSP as the loan to put towards your first-time home purchase. RRSP is more for retirement after you get employed, and there are a lot of rules and regulations to it because it's a tax deductible saving. So I would rather you come see us in person, and that's something we are happy to break down for you.
Thank you. And then Kwang has another question about electronic fund transfer. Wants to know, how do you transfer funds from, let's say, an Rbc account into a BMO account? Where is this information available? What the fees are? What the procedure is?
So Kwang, I'm presuming, are you doing it locally or internationally?
So I'm not sure.
Question. Yeah.
But I guess, I mean, like, I use e-transfer and I love doing it. It's like, for example, let's say Neelam and I go out for dinner and Neelam pays for my half. All I have to do is just send her the money because I didn't have cash. So if I'm banking with, let's say, TD, and she's obviously with Rbc, all I have to do is email her the money and then she can just accept it and put it into her bank. So it's just as simple as that. But are there any limitations up to how much you can transfer daily?
Yes, so the limitations are dependent on a system generated limit and depends on when your account has been opened and what type of account you had. But typically it's up to $1,000 to $2,000 for online. Yeah, per day. It's a daily limit. So I think that more than suffices for e-transfers.
So yeah, it could be from bank to bank, and I think it's locally.
Yes.
It's not outside of Canada.
Correct.
Right. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. So Charles would like to know if he can have access to the funds in his TFSA or RESP accounts in case of emergencies.
Charles, that's a very good question. So let me just go back to what we spoke about TFSA and RESP. So TFSA is a tax-free saving account, which is like a tax shelter. So any funds that you've invested in the TFSA, you can definitely have access to it. Again, it depends on where have you invested the funds under this tax shelter. So for example, if it is under a GIC, which means it's fixed and locked, it would be harder to get access to the funds. However, if you've just put it as cash or just in plain savings, you can definitely withdraw from your TFSA. The money will be available in 24 hours back into your checking account. Where RESP is concerned, I would not use an RESP account as an emergency fund. So anytime you're putting any money into an education saving plan, remembering the fact that the government is contributing into that account, the withdrawal kind of becomes harder. So if you have any emergency needs, TFSA is the best option to put it. Or you can also open what is called as a high interest e-saving account. A high interest e-saving account is more flexible. You can take the money out from that account and transfer into your checking account at any point. It's an immediate transfer. So always emergency funds, you want to keep in mind that you cannot invest them. Investments should be something that you don't reach out to for your emergency.
Perfect, thank you. So Nilesh wants to know, probably a question a lot of people have on their minds, how many transfers can be made into Canada from another country within the first year? And is there a cost of these transfers? And how many are, I guess, like newcomers eligible to do, how many free transfers?
Yeah. So Nilesh, there is a wire transfer fee. It's around $14 to $17. I would recommend that you make a lump sum transfer at one point so that you do not have to make several transfers. We do not have at this point any free offers for newcomers, but that's something that could be added on in future. So it's something we keep having offers around newcomers. Yeah. So, but not at the moment. So anytime you bring in the money, there is $14 to $17 of transfer fees. So if in order to save that, best idea is to bring in as much as possible in one go.
Perfect. And Charles has a good question here as well. So what's the credit limit for a newcomer? And I think you said it was around $2,000. And how do they make the payments? So do they do a lump sum to make sure their credit's good, or do they make small payments, regular payments?
So yes, credit limit for newcomers, we offer a $2,000 credit card when you first arrive, and this is without any credit history established. The best way to make a payment is to go to your online banking or mobile banking. You can set up an alert for yourself. But even if you don't set up an alert for yourself, typically the rule of thumb is that when you see a statement bill date, you want to make the payment for all that you borrowed, which is based on the statement balance, on or a few days before the due date. So once you pay on time, your credit history is going to build up beautifully. You don't have to worry too much about it.
And I guess it's whatever they can afford at the time, whether it's the whatever it says on the statement. So I guess you don't have to pay the lump sum.
Correct. That's true.
So Ali Reza has a question here, wants to know, when I come to Canada, it's got a 10-year-old son or a kid with some English. Are they going to be okay in school? So yeah, that's a very good question. The school system here in Canada is great. So we've got ESL classes. We've got a lot of support. And maybe Ria, because you have younger kids in school, would you happen to be able to answer that question as well?
Yes. Hi. Is it Ali Reza?
Yes.
Hi, Ali Reza. I think it's safe to say, that, like I was saying before, it is a very multicultural country. So pretty much everyone has an accent. And, I think, we do have those ESL classes, and I do believe they provide them in the public school system as well. And I think your son will be very much in good hands when he arrives here. I think at 10 years he would be in grade 4, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So we can definitely connect, and we will assist you in finding the closest school and all these things that you would need to enroll him. So you can definitely connect on LinkedIn, and we can chat about that.
And just to add to that, Ali, you don't have to worry. There are actually settlement counselors who work in schools that help children that whose English language, like if they're not, English language is not their first language, there are settlement counselors in school, and there are special classes for these students so that the children are able to learn English and then integrate with the rest of the students. So we have a very supportive system for people all around the world, and it's not necessary that English is their first language. English is definitely not our first language. So definitely bring him here, and he will be able to integrate very fast.
Awesome, thank you. And Amin here has a question. He's moving to Toronto in April of this month, I guess, and wants to know if they should meet with you directly or find an RBC meeting center.
I mean, first of all, welcome to Canada. We're very excited. You're coming at the right time. It's spring and the weather is only getting warmer. So good time to come. We would encourage you to come meet us at the meeting place. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. My name is Neelam Advani. Again, depending on where you're landing, we have 2 locations. One location is in Markham. So please do connect with Ria Ragbir. You will see our names displayed on the slide. And depending on your convenience, please definitely send us a message, and we're happy to help you.
All right, thank you. And then Kwang has another question. He's already opened an RBC account while he's in Singapore and has transferred some funds over. How can he check if the money has arrived?
So Kwang, I would recommend if you have done it through email or there's some associate who has helped you with this account opening and transfer of funds, they would be the best person. Also, when you did the transfer, there could have been a notification number that you received. I would recommend for you to connect on email or any other number. If you don't have any, please do send me an email, and I'm happy to look into it for you.
Thank you. So we are going over time here, but I'll take a few quick questions here. Alfredo wants to know, do we have to be a Canadian citizen to open a bank account in Canada?
Alfredo, there are various ways in which people arrive in Canada. Permanent resident is the most familiar one. There are others who arrive in what is called as a work permit. So for a work permit, you would be typically employed at an organization before you land. So yes, you are able to open an account under work permit. If you are arriving in Canada as a visitor, then we need to establish the reasons of why you would want to open a Canadian account, if there are any deep family ties or any other reason. So at this moment, I would say if you're on work permit or student permit or permanent residence, then you're definitely able to open an account right away.
Thank you. And is there a maximum or minimum limit that people need to put into their accounts that they open as a newcomer?
So there is no limit. You're welcome to bring in whatever funds you may want to.
And is there a minimum?
No, there is no minimum.
Awesome. Okay. And so I'm just gonna go because a lot of questions are repeated.
Yes.
Are people okay? Are you are okay with people connecting with you on LinkedIn?
Yes, definitely. Please do connect with me on LinkedIn, and then we can direct you from there. The best way for a face-to-face meetup or the branch closest to you.
Awesome. So I think that we pretty much answered all the questions here. And if you still feel like you have some questions, you can either connect with these wonderful ladies on LinkedIn, or you can come and check out their offices. Again, one's in Brampton, one's in Markham. And I feel like most people who do come to Canada tend to move around these places. So they've chosen the right locations. Again, thank you everyone for your time today. Thank you, Neelam and Ria. And again, here's a little bit more information about RBC. If you're looking to work at RBC, this is the website that you can check out as well. And again, you can connect with Ria and Neelam on LinkedIn. And just before you go, if you do have any questions about resume building or interview skills or networking, you can check out our website, accessemployment.ca, click on e-access, and there's all these tiles here. We also have all of our previous RBC webinars on here. So if you're looking for any previous RBC webinars that we've done, we've got some other financial information webinars as well, so you can check them out on our website. And before you come to Canada, if you're interested in taking any of our programs before even arriving and you belong to any of these sectors here, you can email cec@accessemployment.ca for more information if you're landing within the next 2 months. And add us on Instagram. ACCES is everywhere. So add us on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. If you want to know about what's happening online or whether in-house, we do not post it on our website, but it's all over our social media. So if you're following us, you'll be able to catch us whether we're online or in-house. And Ria and Neelam, I just want to thank you again for coming in and educating everyone, including myself. I feel so financially educated right now, so I need to get my finances in order. So thank you so much. Ria, before we go, do you want to say something?
Yes, I just want to say thank you for everyone for taking the time today out of your busy day to listen to what we have to say. And I hope we were able to help in any way. Again, my colleague Neelam and I, we are at 2 locations, the RBC meeting place in Brampton, and we also have the one in Markham. But I also want to add, you can visit any of the branches, the one closest, most convenient to you, to be able to have your questions and concerns answered, because they do the financial aspect, but we all go beyond banking, and just to help our newcomers settle into Canada as easy as possible. So just to know, we are here for you, and we are looking forward to meeting each of you. So thank you for today.
Thank you, Ria. And Neelam, would you like to say anything before we sign off today?
So first of all, thank you so much, Sonia, for inviting us in. You are helping us to reach out to lots of newcomers and empowering them for all the important questions that needed to be answered. And thank you all of you who have been listening to me, and I look forward to connecting with all of you. Just one thing that I would like to add before we go on is Canada may be a cold country, but we are very warm people and very welcoming people. So we hope to see you all soon.
Thank you. What a great way to put it. Thank you all for attending today, and we hope to see you soon, whether you come in person or see us online. So have a great day ahead, everyone.